I want you to pay close attention for a moment, because what I am about to tell you may challenge something you have believed for years. In the United States, millions of adults over 60 are told that as long as they keep walking, they are doing enough to stay independent. Walking is good. There is no question about that. It supports your heart, your lungs, and your overall health. But walking alone does not protect your independence. What actually takes independence away is not when people stop walking. It is when their body quietly loses trust in one fundamental movement. I see this every week working with older adults across the United States. Men and women who walk every day, sometimes faithfully, yet hesitate when standing up from a low chair, grip the handrail on stairs, or pause before stepping out of the bathtub. That hesitation is not weakness, and it is not age. It is your nervous system signaling that it no longer feels safe in that position. Research on aging and fall risk consistently shows that loss of balance, control, and movement coordination predicts falls and loss of independence more strongly than cardiovascular fitness alone. In simple terms, you can be a good walker and still lose confidence in your legs. In this video, I will only focus on one thing, just one movement your body was designed to do that quietly disappears with age and modern American living, and how restoring it can change how steady, confident, and independent you feel on your feet. After more than 25 years working with older adults, I can tell you this clearly. Decline does not start with muscle loss. It starts with lost coordination and lost trust in that movement. And once that trust is gone, walking by itself is no longer enough. Before we go any further, comment your age and where you are watching from in the United States or elsewhere, and tell me which moment feels hardest right now: climbing stairs, standing up from a chair, or getting down low. Walking helps your heart and lungs, and that matters. No one is telling you to stop walking, but here is the part most people in the United States are never told. Walking plateaus. It reaches a point where it stops protecting you from the moments that actually threaten independence. Walking moves you forward in a straight line. It does not train your body to control changes in height. It does not teach your nervous system how to lower your body safely or rise back up with confidence. It does not prepare you for the real-life moments that cause falls, like standing up from a low chair, stepping down a stair, or shifting your weight when balance is suddenly challenged. This is why so many older adults say the same thing. I walk every day, but I still feel unsteady. That is not a contradiction. It is a gap in training. Research in aging and mobility shows that balance control and coordinated movement predict fall risk more strongly than endurance or cardiovascular fitness. In simple terms, a strong heart does not stop a fall. Control does. What most people mistake for muscle weakness is actually loss of control. The legs are often strong enough, but the brain no longer trusts them in certain positions. When that trust fades, your body becomes cautious. You hesitate, you stiffen, you grab for support. That is not failure. That is self-protection. Walking does not rebuild that trust because it never challenges those missing skills. It keeps you comfortable. It keeps you safe. But it does not retrain the movements your body avoids. Over time, those avoided movements feel more foreign and more threatening, even though they are the very movements you need to stay independent. This is where people get scared, and this is where I want to be very clear. You are not broken. Your body is not fragile. You are not doing anything wrong by walking. You are simply missing one layer of movement that walking does not address. And the good news is this: that layer can be restored safely, gradually, and intentionally, even after 60. There is one movement almost every older adult in the United States has quietly lost, and most people do not even realize it until their confidence starts slipping. It is not a gym exercise. It is not a workout trend. It is the ability to lower your body from standing down toward the ground and return back up with control. That movement used to be automatic. Now, for many people over 60, it feels uncertain or unsafe. This movement is not about strength in the traditional sense. It is about ground-level control. Your body has to coordinate hips, knees, ankles, and your core while your nervous system decides whether it feels safe enough to let you go lower. When that coordination fades, the brain steps in to protect you. It limits range. It creates hesitation. It tells you to grab something nearby. From a biological standpoint, the body never forgets this movement because of age alone. It forgets it because of repetition, or more accurately, lack of repetition. In modern American life, we sit high, sleep high, drive high, and even use toilets designed to keep us elevated. Over decades, the body stops practicing the transition between standing and ground level. Muscles are not asked to coordinate in that range, joints stop exploring it, and the nervous system slowly labels it as unfamiliar. Research on motor control and aging shows that unfamiliar movements feel dangerous to the brain, even when the tissues are capable. This is why confidence disappears before strength does. People often say their legs feel weak, but what they are really experiencing is loss of trust. The brain does not trust the movement, so it shuts it down early. This is why so many older adults can still walk long distances, yet feel anxious about getting down low. Walking never asks the body to solve this problem. It never teaches the nervous system how to manage depth. Over time, that missing skill becomes the gap that threatens independence. The critical point to understand is this: strength comes later, confidence comes first. Once the body relearns that this movement is safe, strength follows naturally. But if the movement is never reintroduced, no amount of walking will bring that confidence back. Let me make this real, because this is not about theory. It shows up in ordinary American homes every single day. The first place it appears is the chair. A chair that once felt normal suddenly feels low. You lean forward more than you used to. You push with your hands. You hold your breath. That extra effort is not aging. It is your body searching for control it no longer trusts. Then there is the toilet. Many people do not talk about this, but I hear it constantly. You hesitate before sitting down. You reach for the counter or the wall. You rush the movement instead of controlling it. Studies on fall risk consistently show that transitions on and off the toilet are one of the most common moments for loss of balance in older adults. It is not because the legs are weak. It is because the movement is no longer familiar. Stairs tell the story even more clearly. Going up feels manageable, but going down feels different. You take smaller steps. You grip the railing tightly. You move slower than you want to. Research on balance control shows that descending stairs demands far more coordination and joint control than level walking. When that control fades, confidence disappears first. The most dangerous moment is often the bathtub or shower. One leg in, one leg out, a slippery surface, and a deep bend that the body no longer practices. This is why bathroom falls account for a significant percentage of serious injuries in older Americans. It is not carelessness. It is loss of practice movement at ground level. Here is what matters. These signs show up quietly. Hesitation, bracing with the hands, shorter steps, holding your breath. None of these feel dramatic, but they are early warning signs. They tell you the body no longer trusts itself in certain positions. And the most important thing to understand is this: these moments do not mean something is wrong with you. They mean something has gone unused. The earlier you recognize these signs, the easier it is to restore the movement and protect your independence before a fall forces the lesson. Let me share a few real stories, because this is where the truth becomes impossible to ignore. One of my patients was a 72-year-old man from Ohio. He walked every morning, never missed a day, and proudly told me he could still go 2 miles without stopping. But he admitted something quietly. Standing up from his recliner scared him. He said his legs felt unreliable in that first moment. When we worked on restoring controlled lowering and rising, nothing dramatic happened at first. But after a few weeks, he told me something important. He said the chair no longer felt like a trap. His strength had not suddenly doubled. What changed first was trust. Another patient was a 78-year-old woman from Arizona. She avoided low seats and used the armrests every time she stood up. She believed her legs were weak. When we looked closer, her issue was not force, it was control. The first time she practiced lowering herself slowly and intentionally, she stopped halfway and froze. Her body did not feel safe. Over time, as that movement became familiar again, her confidence returned before her muscles ever felt stronger. She told me she no longer rushed the movement. She breathed. She felt steady. One story that stays with me is an 81-year-old woman from Pennsylvania. She had not fallen, but she lived in fear of it. She told me stairs felt unpredictable, and getting into the bathtub made her nervous every single time. After practicing controlled transitions for several months, she came back and said something that mattered more than any measurement. She said, "I stopped thinking about falling." That was the turning point. Her body trusted itself again. These changes did not happen because these people suddenly became stronger. Research on motor learning and aging shows that the nervous system regains confidence through repeated, controlled exposure, not brute force. That is exactly what happened here. The first win was not muscle. It was certainty. These people are not athletes. They are not exceptions. They are everyday Americans who stop believing the story that decline is automatic after 60. When confidence returns, strength follows. And when confidence does not return, strength alone never protects independence. This entire method uses one single exercise, because independence is not rebuilt by collecting exercises. It is rebuilt by restoring one movement the body trusts again. That exercise is sit-to-stand control. Everything you need comes from how you progress it, not from adding more movements. Before anything else, safety comes first. After 60, the nervous system learns through control, not force. The rule is clear, and it comes straight from clinical practice and motor control research. Steady tension is good, sharp pain is bad. If the movement feels slow, controlled, and slightly demanding, you are training correctly. If you feel stabbing pain, pinching in the hip, or joint pain that makes you hold your breath or rush, you stop. That signal is protection, not weakness. The first progression of sit-to-stand control is supported sit-to-stand. You use a sturdy chair placed against a wall so it cannot move. Your feet are about shoulder-width apart. You lean slightly forward from the hips, place your hands on the armrests or your thighs, and stand up slowly. Then you sit back down just as slowly. The goal is not strength. The goal is teaching your nervous system that this transition is safe. Research on balance retraining shows that slow, intentional transitions rebuild coordination far more effectively than fast repetitions. This is where confidence begins to return. Once that feels steady, you move to the second progression of the same exercise, controlled lowering with pause. From standing, you begin to sit down, but you stop halfway. You pause for 2 to 3 seconds. You breathe. Then you continue down to the chair. This pause is not optional. It is the most important part. This middle range is where most falls are prepared, and it is where the brain has lost trust. Shaking here is common. That shaking is not weakness. It is the nervous system reactivating. Progression follows a simple logic. You do not chase depth, you earn it. Over days and weeks, the pause becomes calmer. You rely less on your hands. You may pause slightly lower. The tempo stays slow. Studies on motor relearning in older adults consistently show that gradual exposure with control leads to lasting improvements in balance and functional strength. There are common mistakes to avoid. Dropping into the chair instead of lowering with control, holding your breath, letting the knees collapse inward, shifting all the weight into the heels. These patterns tell the brain danger is coming. You correct them by slowing down, breathing, and keeping your weight centered over your feet. If you have knee pain, hip stiffness, or balance concerns, you modify the same exercise. You raise the chair height with cushions. You keep one hand on a countertop. You shorten the range and work only the top half at first. This is not regression. This is precision. Clinical research shows the body adapts faster when the challenge matches current capacity instead of pushing past it. Remember this. Strength comes later. Control comes first. When the sit-to-stand movement feels safe again, the body allows strength to return on its own. This is not about working harder. It is about teaching your body to trust itself again. And that is what protects independence after 60. Let me bring this together clearly, because this is the belief that changes everything. Walking is still good. Keep walking. It supports your heart and your lungs. But walking alone does not protect your independence. What protects independence is restoring the one movement that allows your body to trust itself again when changing levels. That is where confidence lives. And without confidence, strength never gets a chance to matter. The solution does not need to be complicated. In fact, complexity is what stops most people from starting. The plan is simple, and it is safe. Practice this one movement 1 to 2 times a day. That is it. Not for long sessions. Not until you are exhausted. Just a few slow, controlled repetitions that remind your nervous system that this movement is familiar and safe. Research on motor learning shows that frequent, low-intensity exposure builds confidence and coordination far more effectively than occasional hard workouts. Consistency matters more than effort. Doing a little every day keeps the movement alive in your system. It prevents fear from creeping back in. It keeps your body adaptable. And if one day feels tighter or harder, that is information, not failure. You stay within control. You respect the signal. You continue tomorrow. That is how people over 60 make lasting progress without injury. I want you to understand this clearly. You are not too old. You are not fragile. Your body did not suddenly forget how to move because of age. It forgot because modern life stopped asking it to remember. The moment you reintroduce this movement safely, your body begins to respond. Confidence returns first, strength follows, independence stays. This is not about pushing harder. It is about taking ownership of your movement again, and you do not have to do it alone. This community is full of people walking the same path, rebuilding trust in their bodies one day at a time. Before you go, comment your age and where you are watching from, and type "I will practice" if you are willing to restore this one movement for the next 7 days.